whispering in the trees. It's two cities and they're only.
And that brings us to Shawn Gayle, who's on the line with us right now. Hey, Shawn, how are you, sir?
I'm well. How are you?
I am taking a beating, but none the worse for wear, my friend. It's time for a little football talk.
All right.
Where are you currently, Shawn?
I'm downtown Chicago.
Okay, so is that where you make your home these days?
Yeah, you know, Chicago's a great place to live after you finish playing. The fans don't forget, and we don't forget the fans.
Absolutely not. Chicago is the greatest sports city I think there is in the world. Just recently, by the way, Shawn, number 23, am I correct?
Yes, you are.
And how does it feel to a former player to have another really great, I'm sure going to be remembered as one of the greatest punt returners, kickoff returners the game has ever seen, Devin Hester, wearing your number? Is that a cool thing for you?
Absolutely. I mean, that's one thing. When you first choose a team, you take a look at the smaller things when it comes to matters of football, like what jersey will you be wearing and things of that nature. So when I got to Chicago, Lenny Walterscheid, he's someone who wore the number, and first game that I saw him on the sideline, I had to go over the phone because it's a legacy thing. And
sure.
You'd much rather have someone out on the field doing fantastic things wearing your number.
Let's talk a little bit about that 1985 Super Bowl Bears team. That was the year of the shuffle. Any regrets on that shuffle thing? Did that wear you out? I mean, it was everywhere, man. It was on Saturday Night Live. It was everywhere.
Yeah, yeah. You know, for us, the one cool thing about it, of course, people remembering that and identifying with it, where they were when they used to sing it in school and whatnot. But for us, the fact that we recorded that the morning after the one loss we had that year,
right,
kind of showed how much confidence we had.
That was a great Bears team. Can you talk a little bit about playing for we'll get to Ditka in a moment, but Buddy Ryan, was there a division, as people seem to believe that there was a serious division between the defensive unit and the offensive unit of the '85 Bears?
Definitely, there was a division, if you will. It was, you know, I think it was a linchpin that made us what we were. When we performed against each other every day in practice, there was always that edge. Now, granted, off the field, in the locker room, we're all great friends, but on the field, even in practice, that elevated the level of competition, and that's what you saw on Sunday when we took the field versus someone else.
Was that typical too for Ditka and Ryan? Did they have that? Did they have that edge?
Yes, there was an edge. There was some friction there, but you know, there's no way to deny it. And Mike Ditka, one of the best head coaches at a time in the NFL, and all you could do as a player was respect him because of the way he played the game, and was pretty much a reflection of how he coached. But against another strong-willed coach like a Buddy Ryan in the defensive coordinator spot, that did create a lot of friction.
Who did you guard in practice? Who'd you cover?
Well, you know, it's not really like that, like a game in practice, because we do switch up. You have different assignments, things like that. So anywhere from Willie Galt to Dennis McKinnon to Emory Moorhead to Tim Reitman, Walter Payton when he came out of the backfield.
McKinnon had really good hands. Willie Galt, he was that era's Bob Hayes, was he not? I mean, he was fast, but sometimes that ball would drop right in his hands, and they needed to put some glue on his hands. He dropped a lot of them, but he could really fly. Yeah,
I think Willie got a bum rap along the way when people talked about how inconsistent he was catching the ball, and that happens. But the one thing that Willie did that really changed the complexion of how we did things offensively was he would always take two defensive backs with him when he lined up, because he could outrun anyone. So you needed two guys, one to go deep and one to cover him short. So that really opened things up for us.
Anybody that you had problems with, or the day of a game you'd be in the locker room and you would just know, I'm really going to have my hands full today?
Yeah, I think we all had those days. And outside of just going into the game already injured and trying to make it through, there was a young man out of St. Louis. And at that time, the Cardinals were still in St. Louis, and quarterback was Neil Lomax, and they had a a defensive back who was all pro by the name of Roy Green. Now, what made Roy so great was because he was an all-pro defensive back, he switched and became an all-pro wide receiver. So he knew so much about both positions. And it was my rookie year, and I had to cover him in one of his greatest seasons. And let's say that it was a long, long day for me.
Okay, let's talk about what I barely remember. So I know it was a highlight though in your career. Did you return a punt like 5 yards or something for a touchdown? Was it a short punt? What was that? I know it's in the back of my mind from '85. In '85, I got the world's bum rap. I was a big Bears fan. I was at the Westin Hotel and handled all the NFL, Major League Baseball, and NBA teams that came to Chicago. Almost all of them stayed at the Westin. In '84, I was transferred to Los Angeles. So when you guys won the Super Bowl, I was out in L.A., and then you played the game in New Orleans, another city that I had lived 3 times and worked at the Hyatt down there. So I missed. I could have been in either spot, and I wasn't. I was in L.A., but it seems I recall something about a short punt. Am I out of my mind?
No. It was. It'll go down in history. It has gone down in history as the shortest punt return for a touchdown in the NFL, and I'm pretty confident that record will stand.
What happened?
Sean Landetta, the punter for the Giants in the first playoff game, he went to punt the ball, backed up in near his own end zone, and he just barely touched it, went off the side of his foot, took a couple of bounces. I picked it up and ran it in.
Oh, you whiffed.
Yeah, pretty pedestrian effort.
You whiffed on. You still got that ball, Sean?
No, I don't.
Oh, shucks. Let's talk about what's happening this weekend. You're going to be over at the Charlie Horse here in Hammond, in Munster on Calumet Avenue. They are building up a reputation, Sean, for having some of the great sports legends of Chicago right out here in Northwest Indiana. You're going to be there Sunday for the entire game?
I will be there pre-game and through most of the game. Yes, that's true. I think it's going to be a great time, and I'm looking forward to meeting some fantastic fans out there.
Oh, it's going to be packed, Sean. Trust me. It's going to be packed. We were just there. Well, we had the distinct pleasure and honor of sitting down with Gayle Sayers about a month or 2 ago. Also, Bobby Hull. There's been a lot of great Chicago legends over there. You are the next in what I hope to be a long line and a ever growing relationship with the Charlie Horses. They bring in the greatest names in Chicago sports. It's just so cool for us. It's literally 5 minutes from where I live. It's a nice venue. I don't know if you've been there yet or not. You will be in a very nice room with a very big crowd that's all going to be supporting the Chicago Bears.
Sounds like a great time. I look forward